Chancellor, in accordance with the Charter, statutes and ordinances of the University, I present to you this person on whom we wish you to confer the degree of Doctor of Literature, honoris causa, Shrabani Basu. A journalist, Sunday Times best-selling author and historian, Shrabani's work combines her twinned passions of journalism and history, and often centres on British rule in India, exploring the past through the lens of hidden stories and marginalised voices. Shrabani was born in Kolkata before growing up in Delhi, Bangladesh and Nepal. She studied history at Delhi University at undergraduate and postgraduate level before launching a career as a trainee journalist in 1983 at the Times of India in Mumbai. She moved to London in 1987, where she lives now, to report for the ABP group of publications, including Sunday Magazine, The Telegraph, and the Indian Bengali language daily Ananda Bazar Patrika. With a career in journalism spanning more than 40 years, she has conducted exclusive interviews with senior politicians and writers, including the likes of acclaimed novelist Salman Rushdie, Pakistan's first female Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the Indian writer Nirad Chowdhury, and the famed cricketer Sir Viv Richards. Shrabani's passion for combining her journalism with history led to her career as an author. Her 2010 biographical book, Victoria and Abdul, the true story of the Queen's closest confidant, which was adapted into a major Oscar-nominated motion picture starring Dame Judi Dench and Bollywood star Ali Fazal, brings to life the unlikely friendship she uncovered between Queen Victoria and her Indian servant Abdul Karim, who arrived in England aged 24 during the late royal's Golden Jubilee and became the Queen's teacher on Urdu and Indian affairs. Her most recent book, The Mystery of the Parsi Lawyer, published in 2021, is a fascinating account of a miscarriage of justice in Edwardian Birmingham involving George Edalji, a 27-year-old solicitor born to a Parsi convert from India and an Englishwoman who was jailed for a crime he didn't commit and went on to hire the author, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, to clear his name. Her 2006 book, Spy Princess, The Life of Nur Inayat Khan, traces the life of a legendary spy, a descendant of Indian royalty, who became the first woman radio operator to be infiltrated into occupied France in 1943. As a result of her work poring over records to preserve Nur's daring legacy, Shrabani went on to form the Nur Inayat Khan Memorial Trust and campaigned tirelessly to honour her memory, earning several mentions in the House of Lords for her work on this area. Shrabani successfully campaigned for a sculpture of the World War II heroine to be raised in London, the city's very first memorial of an Indian woman. A bust of the British serving resistance agent was unveiled by our Chancellor in 2012 in Gordon Square, followed by the release of a special Royal Mail stamp in March 2014 and a blue plaque unveiled outside Nur's home on Taviton Street. Shrabani's other books also include For King and Another Country, on India's contribution to British efforts during the First World War, and Curry, a seminal 1999 book about the dish's rise to prominence from the days of the Raj through to 19th century Britain and beyond. A thought leader on India and empire, Shrabani often speaks publicly on related issues, appearing on radio, television, and in several documentaries, including on BBC, ITV, Channel 4 and Channel 5. She is an ambassador for the Royal Air Force Museum in London, and she's on the advisory panel of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. Shrabani has made various contributions over the years to several literary festivals, including the Oxford Literature Festival, Cambridge History Festival, Jaipur Literature Festival, Ceylon Literary Festival, Indian Summer in Chicago, in Seattle and Vancouver, and many others. In addition to this major area of work, Shrabani works closely with the Commonwealth War Graves Commission in an advisory capacity on commemoration and memorialisation, honouring the names of those forgotten in World War I. It is for these and many other reasons that we are delighted to honour Shrabani today. Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I ask you to confer the degree of Doctorate of Literature honoris causa on Shrabani Basu.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, distinguished professors, graduates, and guests, thank you for honoring me today with this degree. And thank you, Professor Mary Stiasny, for those very kind words. It is a humbling and proud moment for me to be recognized by a top university like yours. I have, of course, another link, as already mentioned, with the university, and one I am so grateful for. In 2009, it was the University of London that gave us the permission to build a memorial for World War II heroine Noor Inayat Khan in Gordon Square. The university recognized the importance of commemorating Noor Inayat Khan, who was barely known at the time. It was a memorable day when the bust was unveiled in 2012 by Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal. Today, the memorial is visited by people from around the world, and Noor's story is well known. She has even appeared on an episode of Doctor Who. So thank you for placing your trust in us and your support for everything over the years. As a writer and biographer, I'm usually talking about my subjects, but today I felt I had to share some of my own journey with you. I came to London in 1987, a young journalist, eager to publish stories under a London dateline. One of my first stories was the enormous number of Indian artifacts which were in storage in the Victoria and Albert Museum. The curators were crying out for a dedicated gallery, and I was taken to the storage area by the then keeper of the India section, and it absolutely blew me away. Some years later, when the Nehru Gallery was opened at the V&A, and many of the objects were displayed in this fabulous space, I felt a real sense of connection. Over the years, the museums and galleries in London have always been a huge source of inspiration for me. I would never miss an exhibition in London that covered the theme of Raj or colonialism in some form. I learned things I didn't know and found large chunks of history that had not been covered. In telling these unknown stories, I found my calling. I still remember my first November in London, wondering why people were wearing poppies. We did not really have a concept of Remembrance Day in India. I saw the Indian veterans marching and realized for the first time their contribution to the Second World War. It was an eye-opener. I had grown up reading books about the Second World War and seen the movies. Films like The Great Escape, Where Eagles Dare, later Saving Private Ryan, were classics that we watched and rewatched. However, I had never seen an Indian face in any of the war films. Yet, 2.5 billion Indians volunteered for the Second World War. They seem to have been forgotten from history. And so it was, with a lot of trepidation, over 20 years ago, that I decided to write a biography of an Indian woman, Noor Inayat Khan, who had played a crucial role as a secret agent in the Second World War. I was a complete outsider. The story of the Second World War is mainly written by male historians from the West. To top it all, I was telling the story of a woman. The pressure was quite overwhelming, and I had many moments of self-doubt. There were some who dismissed me, but equally there were many who helped. and I will always remember them and be grateful for their support. There is always a question of what you give back to society. For me, as an author, telling the stories of Indians in the First and Second World Wars has been a privilege. Many of the South Asian diaspora in Britain have ancestors who served in the war. Most know nothing or very little about them. I have seen firsthand how it energizes them when I talk about it. It gives them a connection, a stake in the system, a sense of inclusion. I have seen young South Asian women being so inspired by the story of Noor Inayat Khan. Equally, I've seen students gasp in astonishment when they learn that Queen Victoria could write in Urdu. Much has been debated about the teaching of empire in schools. I see this not as something divisive, but one that brings people together, promotes an understanding of each other's culture and histories. Our shared future is, after all, based on our shared past. So as you go out into this world and walk out into this beautiful spring day today, remember always that you are privileged to have this gift of knowledge that you take away from here. It is also your responsibility to share that knowledge. Always take others with you. We never forget the person who gave us a helping hand when we most needed it. Be that person to others. You have everything to gain and a world to win. Congratulations and all the best for the future. Thank you.